This man takes care of and bathes his paralyzed wife every day. But that day, something bad happened. After filling the bathtub, he suddenly slipped, hit the tub, and passed out. His wife panicked when she saw what happened because the faucet was still running, while she was completely paralyzed and couldn't move at all. If the water kept filling the tub at that rate, she would drown. As the water level kept rising, she tried to move her right leg, the only part of her body she could still feel, to reach for the drain chain and open it. When the water reached her mouth and nose, she put all her strength into her right leg. After several attempts, the drain still wouldn't open. In fact, the chain ended up breaking. Seeing the water continue to rise, she felt completely hopeless. At that point, the water had already covered her mouth and nose. To survive, she focused what little strength she had left into her left arm and slowly reached for the nearby shower. She tried to move it to control the faucet, but her movements were extremely slow and painful. Before she could succeed, the water had already completely covered her head. She only had a few seconds left before drowning. At that moment, her strength was completely gone. She did manage to turn the faucet a little so the water flow decreased, but the water level was still deadly. Just before running out of breath, she relaxed her body and let her right leg float upward. Then with the last bit of strength she had, she kicked the drain and finally managed to open it. The water began to flow out. As the water level dropped, her head re-emerged above the surface. Her strong will to live had saved her. But then she felt something surprising. The near-death experience brought sensation back to her entire body. The body that had been paralyzed for 30 years felt alive again. She grabbed the edge of the tub and slowly stood up, then turned toward her husband. Strangely, the man who had been lying on the floor was already gone. Seeing the traces left behind, she began to cry. She realized that her husband had not actually fainted. If that's the case, why did he let her almost drown and do nothing? Was this all part of his plan? As that thought crossed her mind, she reached for the shower curtain, but her body hadn't fully recovered, and she fell again. Somehow she managed to get up and staggered toward the bedside table to call the police. But just as she picked up the phone, she saw a strange shadow through the crack in the door. She had never believed her friend who said that her husband was having an affair. But now she realized that her friend was right. Did her husband really want to kill her so he could run away with his mistress? To stop his plan, she grabbed a shard of glass and carefully peeked outside to see what her husband was doing. That's when she realized that the shadow she saw was just the curtain moving in the wind. Even so, she remained alert and slowly moved toward the door, afraid her husband would suddenly appear in front of her.